How dare you as a white person dishonor and disrespect what our ancestors have built?
Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome. I do hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here once again. Welcome back. So my usual disclaimer, please, this video is strictly for educational purposes. Please do not go searching out the people that I talk about in this video. Don't send them any form of hate or threat or violence. This channel does not support any of that. So I came across this video, actually it's been a while back, that was made by this palm-colored woman. I think she was addressing both fellow palm-colored people and black people as well. Let me roll her clip right now.
One thing I'll never understand is how, as a white person, you can hate your own race. How can white people hate white people? So I'll see a video of a black girl saying something incredibly racist against white people, and then there'll be a white person in the comments like, oh, so true, why are we like this? Or, oh, so true, I hate us. And then occasionally another white person will comment like, bro, you are white, like, have some, you know, dignity. And they'll be like, yeah, but look what our ancestors did to them, look what we did, look who we colonized, who we enslaved, blah 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 blah. I mean, you can't possibly think that you're that strong and that important that you can bear the weight and responsibility of something your ancestors may or may not have done 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, before you even came into existence, right? And then we go back to the creator. So there'll be like-minded people in their comments section too. So they'll be going like, yeah, that's so true, white folk are like this, blah, blah, blah. And we can say all this because you can't be racist against white people, and we can say this because look at the history, look what white people did to black people, and look at this and look at this. My grandma and her dog were enslaved by white people. That's why I can say this about white people. Cool. So by that same logic, if my grandma was killed by a black guy, does that mean I can just hate every single black man? Every black person? No. It's like victim Olympics, oppression Olympics. The victim mentality that exists amongst these people is unbelievable, right? Instead of crying, yeah, about something that happened to your ancestors, who, by the way, you never met and never knew and pretty much have no, like, emotional connection to whatsoever, why don't you focus on yourself and bettering yourself and not bringing more hatred and racism into the world? So can racism only be justified if it's against a race other than your own? And for all the white people who feel guilty for being white, fuck you. Like, grow up, get a grip. You are part of one of the most powerful and successful races to ever walk the earth. How can you be ashamed of that? If it were the other way round, look, it could have been the other way round. Do you think they'd be crying for you? Probably not. So just get on with it and don't cry and punish yourself for someone else's skill issue.
So that video is giving me different kind of vibe. It's giving me black people are victims, they complain too much. It's giving me stop complaining about slavery because you had nothing to do with it. You don't even know your ancestors who were slaves. It's also giving me white people, you should be proud of what our ancestors did. It's giving me different vibes. Let me just go right ahead and play stitches and responses to that video, and then we'll come back and talk.
People hate white people.
I was originally going to reply to Aunt Karen's video on this, but since it's been removed, let's talk about it. I feel like this needs some clarification first. See, the white people that get it don't hate white people as individuals. We hate white supremacy. We hate what the concept of whiteness stands for. We hate that whiteness as an ideology is a means of oppression for other people. We hate actions that enforce white supremacy. And we choose to distance ourselves from those enforcers. When we say something like, I can't stand white people, it does not mean I cannot stand every single white person on this planet. It means I cannot stand the white supremacist agenda that a lot of these white people are still enforcing. I cannot stand the ignorance that I see every single day. I cannot stand the centering behavior that I see. I cannot stand the self-victimization. I cannot stand the race and the anti-blackness and the misogynoir and the xenophobia. I cannot stand the backhanded, disingenuous attempts to act as if you are oppressed. I cannot stand the idea of white people thinking that they have not benefited from every single system in this country, that they have not had the upper hand and the advantage in everything, regardless of if you chose to utilize that privilege. And if you think that being poor or being born poor is an oppression, you should probably talk to those white people, the 1% up top, that created these systems of white supremacy and white privilege. They created these systems to benefit themselves, not the general public. Yet you will work in their interests even while they are actively f***ing you over. You will simultaneously cry about being oppressed for being poor, yet say that black people are lazy and don't work. Make it make sense. We can't stand the disingenuous attempts to minimize the struggles of people of color in this country by centering yourself on your own struggles. As a white person, your struggles are a drop of water in a lake of what people of color go through in this country. And y'all have had the privilege of not even acknowledging it. Meanwhile, no other racial group in this country gets to live without the knowledge that they are not at the top of the totem pole. So no, it's not about hating white individuals. It's about hating the system that makes y'all have the audacity and the gall to think that you are oppressed in a system that was built around you. Goodbye.
One thing I'll never understand is how, as a white person, you can hate your own race. How can white people hate white people? So I'll see a video of a black girl saying something incredibly racist against white people. And then there'll be a white person in the comments like, oh, so true, why are we like this? Or, oh, so true, I hate us. And then occasionally another white person will comment like, bro, you are white. Like, have some, dignity. And they'll be like, yeah, but look what our ancestors did to them. Look what we did. Look who we colonized, who we enslaved, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you can't possibly think that you're that strong and that important that you can bear the weight and responsibility of something your ancestors may or may not have done 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, before you even came into existence, right? And then we go back to...
Number one, these people do not want to be criticized for what their ancestors did, but they sure as hell want to hold on to what their ancestors left for them. Number two, what in the racial victimization is going on here? Apparently saying that you benefit from colonialism or slavery, blah, 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 is equated to hate. Number three, I find it funny that the same folks that love to say nobody alive today owned a slave or was a slave. Shit, nobody alive today made the Constitution, but you think we should go by that, don't you? Number four, the better criticism you could have made is how white people feeling bad about being white does nothing for the structure of white supremacy or whiteness. That would have been the better criticism. Number five, there are people still alive today that dealt with Jim Crow, war on drugs, redlining, the list goes on. Number six, nobody alive today fought for American independence, but you still feel entitled and you still feel responsible for celebrating it, don't you? You gonna pop the firecrackers, ain't you? Number seven, ain't it funny how these folks use the trick of time so we can go back to 1776 and feel like we supposed to be having the ties to that, but 1860s, that's too far in the past. In conclusion, what I heard in her video was, how dare you as a white person dishonor and disrespect what our ancestors have built? Do you understand? Don't ask me what the accent was.
One thing I'll never understand is how, as a white person, you can hate your own race.
So if we look historically, there has been some European groups that always hated each other. I mean, World War I, II, prior to that, English and French wars, Scandinavian invasions, like all sorts of stuff. So, examples like that, Yeah, but this is one of the reasons why I tell people to look at world history, because if you do, you will find out that Africans didn't conquer Europeans at certain points in time. Yeah, just do a little research into the Reconquista, why that happened, and, you will find some answers there. Also, look up the Barbary slave trade and Barbary wars and all that. you'll find some information there. But the thing is, people have been conquered and dominated all over the world for years. People of the same race, people of different races. Hell, look at the Roman Empire. They took in anybody who was against them or anyone who they seen as a threat. It didn't matter what you looked like. Yeah, so pretty much if you go back far enough, you're going to find out that every ethnicity and nationality has had their turn at tragic events. Some groups just have bad history that's more recent than others. Hell, there's people who are going through stuff right now. There's still people enslaved right now. There are still groups that, are being hunted down and damn near genocide. There's still people who are at war with other people. Yeah, the point is there's always going to be some stuff going on between some race or some nationality or some ethnicity. It doesn't matter,
So I'll say,
I think I hate people who hate for no damn reason. People who are uneducated and proud of it. People who are proud of their race and their hatred and their bigotry and their intolerance. They're proud of it. People who go out of their way to cause misery and suffering for other people. People who refuse to listen and learn and observe other people. People who refuse to change. People who refuse to evolve. I hate the haters and the primitive people in our society that are dragging us down and keeping us from growing as a species. That's what I hate. I don't particularly hate white people, but most of the time the people like this do turn out to be white.
So everybody that made a speech basically kind of said things that I already want to say. The people that get hurt by videos addressing white people who do rape to the cyst things are the people who do not understand that when black people are talking about white people, in quotes, in the context of rape to the system, they are not addressing all white people. They are addressing the white people that uphold white supremacy, of which that lady in that video is probably their secretary or their godmother. She obviously is one of them, because you cannot tell me, like, she's obviously very proud of what her ancestors did, and she's telling the other white people to be proud, and stop trying to appease black people or trying to reason with black people or placate black people or be sympathetic to black people over what their ancestors were put through. And let's not just even stop at ancestors, because till this day, black people are still experiencing some form of racism or oppression or discrimination or bias. We all know that this is not victimhood. I mean, if you need proof, check out my videos on this channel. You will see instances that unarguably are proof of this. Till this day, black people are still trying to defeat racism and all these biases against black people, right? So this is one of the people that wants to detach herself. Like, I feel like she has desensitized herself. Where is your humanity? Do you know the history? Do you know what these people passed through for you to come out and say, oh, get over it? After all, it happened to your ancestors 1,000 years ago that you have no emotional connection to. Has she heard of generational trauma? They always like to make it sound like racism happened 1,000 years ago. Has she Googled the Jim Crow era? Does she even know about the Black Lives Matter movement? Black people are still marching in the streets till this very day. Till this day. That is actually why I try to highlight some allies from time to time, because I know that it takes a serious kind of work for a white person who was very likely born into a rape-to-the-cyst family or born with these ideologies and values that have been passed down from generations, for them to choose to do the anti-racist work, to reprogram their brains and become anti-racist, and now become vocal allies of the black community. So when I see people like that who seem genuine, I actually like to appreciate their efforts, because I know definitely not all palm color people are rape to the cyst. So for every white person who chooses to speak against white supremacy or race against black people, that is who this lady is coming for. She's coming for them. Like, how dare you talk about what our ancestors did? How dare you try to empathize with these people? Can't you see that we are one of the most successful races out there and this and that? She's definitely basking in her white privilege. She's definitely applauding white supremacy. She's not acknowledging what they did. I think what even pissed me off was the part where she talked about, if a black man killed my grandmother, will I now hate all black people? She's making it look like it was a one-on-one crime. So what white people did, they did it to an entire group of people. Do you know the number of people that were enslaved? Do you know the generations of people? Do you know the harsh treatment? I don't even think it's ignorant that made her say that. I really think she is a ray to the cyst and very proud of it. I don't even want to get worked up by this video. You guys just let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I'll be reading your comments in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications. That way YouTube will let you guys know whenever I have a new video up. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.